Essential Weapon.
That's the song, right? And then you say, "Sure you," and I go, "Flicks."
Roll the credits. Roll it. Roll it now.
SHORYUFLICKS. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching another episode of SHORYUFLICKS. My name is Mirsky. This is my boy,
Will.
We were so excited to watch this possibly last installment of Daniel Craig as James Bond in Spectre. But did we like it, or did we not? Here's the review.
I want to give you guys a very straightforward answer, but it's kind of hard to. Spectre definitely wasn't the best installment of the 4 movies. I wish it was, because the way they tied up everything, it made it seem like this was going to be the last possible Bond film with Daniel Craig as Bond. What's the best? No. Was the second best? Maybe not even second best. Third best? Arguably. So that's not too good. 3 out of 4 is, third place out of 4 is not that great. I'll tell you what I did like. I did like that they tried their best to tap every single loose end. They tried to give Bond a happy ending. They tried to make everything that made Bond films what they are. But at the same time, it felt like there was a couple of things that were just thrown in order to appease fans. Like the romance scene. They just threw it in there. Don't lead up, no kind of relationship building, just, not to spoil it, but it was basically like this. What are we doing? Nothing? Okay, let's go do something now. No creativity whatsoever. And we're supposed to be led to believe that this relationship's going to turn into love by the end. We already know that Daniel Craig's James Bond does fall in love relatively quickly, but I don't know about this one. Action-wise, it was really good. I think Dave Bautista actually did a really good job, surprisingly, because he wasn't the best pro wrestler, and he wasn't really good at selling moves as a wrestler, but as an actual actor, whether it's the angling of the way the fight sequences are shot, or you just a good selling on the camera, Dave Bautista did a good job as one of the villains in this movie. But yeah, I mean, the action sequences are pretty good. The car chase scene, it was okay. It wasn't, it's not going to win any awards, or it's not going to win any, I'm not going to think about it, as the greatest car chase scenes like I do with, let's say, Italian Job or something like that, right? There wasn't that much cool tech in this movie, and I was hoping there would be. I watched James Bond films for a couple of things. I watched for what kind of cell phone he uses. I watched for what kind of gun he uses and what kind of car he drives. The car was cool. He drove a Aston Martin concept car. He uses his typical guns, and there's really no cool tech. I mean, there was one cool thing where, in order to keep track of Bond, because Bond does whatever he wants apparently, he answers to nobody. They injected him with smart blood, which basically the tracking formula bonds to his blood cells so that they actually track his movements and where he is by his blood, which is insane. I would never want that, just saying. Overall, action was good. Acting, again, James Bond's a relatively straightforward film, so acting was done on par with what you would expect from a James Bond film. I just felt like they tried to put a nice ribbon on a franchise. They put that really big bow on a really small box, and a lot of it felt forced. I mean, I'm happy that, I like that they try to give Bond some resolution at the end after losing so much throughout all these films, try to give him something back. But I kind of wish that Daniel Craig's James Bond would have gone on a better note. So, is it worth watching? It's up to you. I really think that if you want to watch it in theater, you might regret it, but you might not. But at the same time, it's not really good. It's not really indicative of how good it is, because I wasn't floored, and I'm pretty sure Maris is going to say the same thing.
While I'm a huge fan of the James Bond series, the seemingly last entry for the Daniel Craig version of James Bond, for lack of a better term, it is what it is. It felt like another Skyfall, except Skyfall was better. The movie isn't without its great moments. Daniel Craig is always going to be great as James Bond, and Lea Seydoux, who is his female counterpart in the movie, plays off well. Her acting was actually not too bad. It was just kind of right for the character that she played. But what really hurts this movie is basically just a lack of character development throughout the entirety of the movie. The movie kind of just plays off what Skyfall was, and basically a continuation of that. The story goes, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers, it's basically what it is throughout the press release. It's kind of just a continuation of Skyfall, where M, before she died, left Bond a message for his basically last mission. Again, I felt like the movie, while it was entertaining, it just lacked any real character development or character evolution. It acted like more of a tribute to the current run of the franchise, and while referencing some classic moments of the James Bond movies, it didn't feel like it was an original story. So my conclusion for Spectre is that it's not really a must-see. You'll like it if you're a James Bond fan, but if you're not, just go ahead and wait for Blu-ray or digital download. If you're looking for any more further character development for the James Bond character, you're not gonna get it here, but the one thing that it might be worth watching for is that they do bring back a classic villain from one of the older James Bond movies, and for that alone, it might be worth watching. Well, there you have it. There's our review for quite possibly the last installment of Daniel Craig's James Bond, Spectre. I liked it. It was entertaining, but could have been a lot better. Will?
I placed it kind of third out of the 4 movies in this installment, so take that for what it's worth. It might be a good time, but that's about it.
Thanks for watching this episode of SHORYUFLICKS. My name is Mersky. This is my boy, Will. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. We'd love to hear what you think. Also follow us on Facebook at SHORYUFLICKS, on Instagram at SHORYUFLICKS, and on Twitter at SRFlicks. Thanks for watching.
Adios.
SHORYUFLICKS.